Troopers and grinders, welcome to the biggest weekend in international combat sports this year. I am super excited for it. Isha's super excited for it, and nobody else is. In fact, everybody thinks that it's just UFC this weekend. But I got something to tell you, casuals. MMA is not just in North America. MMA is not just run by the bald man, the bald tan man, the bald fat / muscly man. It is all over the world. It's in Japan. It's in Poland. It's in Ireland. It's in the UK. It's in Poland. It's in Brazil. It's in the UK. It's in Japan. It's all over the place. It's even in an octagon. I don't know where it is. It's in the shape of an octagon, though. And it's happening the whole weekend. I am strapped in, even though I shouldn't be because I got finals. It's going to be a hell of a weekend, and I am all here for it. And hopefully, so is my co-host to my left, the Idaho Skatesman. How you feeling about this weekend, brother?
Feeling good, man. I'm really excited for RIZIN. That card, or RIZIN, that card looks amazing,
RIZIN.
man.
I like that name more than RIZIN, to be honest. It works
RIZIN,
more.
RIZIN, whatever.
I'm RIZIN, man.
I hear people call it different things, but it is a big weekend for combat sports, and capped off obviously by the UFC. But I think RIZIN will be Sunday morning, right?
Yeah, it will be right after Saturday. That's going to be the main event. It's actually got some decent main event fights and high caliber action. So they're not rizzing me out of my money. That's for sure. And we're actually having a rarity. The UFC is not going to be in the Apex this weekend either. It's like the cherry on top of the delicious creamy sundae. Actually going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. So they're going back to the Rust Belt, brother. We're finally giving back to those rural folks over in the factories.
Well, my buddy Hank has some regional show locks for you guys he wants to go over. So this is going to be a long one, guys. So let's get right into it.
Try to make it as short as possible for my sake.
Show us what you got, my friend.
All right. So first we got KSW happening in Poland. Wilczak versus Przybylsk 5.
Of course.
Quinn
trilogy.
Quinn trilogy somehow.
My bad.
And I don't know how these guys are having their fifth fight. I think that Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo are very jealous of these two guys with the amount of fights and rematches they're having with each other.
And I believe Phil DeFree is also fighting, correct?
Yeah, he is. And even more baffling, he's going to be fighting Augusto Sakai. Remember that guy?
I did look at that earlier. That is crazy.
From the pre-USADA days. That's right. That dinosaur is still crawling around somewhere in the Mesozoic ocean. He's finally emerged like the great Godzilla. But I think that Phil DeFries is going to stuff his face full of fries, and he's going to put Godzilla back into the sea. It's going to be a real shame. I didn't know that Sakai was Brazilian for a while. I thought he was Japanese based on the name, but apparently he is Brazilian.
I mean, there is a big contingent of, Japanese, Brazilian. I mean, look at Roberto Satoshi,
Right. Brazilian jiu-jitsu from Japan. We got a continuity of mixed martial arts, but that's not going to help Sakai here. DeFries has way more power. Sakai is going to look like an old washed-up Mark Hunt in there, I'm thinking. And DeFries, he's going to last past the barnacles and the mosquitoes and cockroaches when the world ends. So I think DeFries is going to knock him right the fuck out. And then we got 167, which has a lot of canceled fights, unfortunately, which sort of took away from its prestige and its pay-per-view value. But we still have some good fights, including a special highlight of Cade Ruotolo. That's right. The grappler has transitioned to MMA.
What fights got canceled?
Stamp was out of the fight, which is sort of a big one.
Who cares about that?
Oh, I guess Idaho.
Yeah.
But all the cash do, and that's what matters.
What's up, Dane, and what's up, Sean? What's up, boys? And yes, I did shave. Sorry, Dane. I know you love the beard, but
got a beautiful crew cut. He's looking stylish. He's ready for prison. Cade Ruotolo is back, and Cade is transitioning to MMA.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
They got him up against an absolute can, and I feel like Cade Ruotolo is just going to take him down first thing he does. And treat it like it's a grappling match against a guy who can't grapple and get around.
Let's actually go through the card if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I got it pulled up here. So, we'll talk about that fight in a second. I believe I saw this guy Tran Nguyen fight. He was pretty exciting.
Oh, I wanted to also say Ben 10 and White Lightning also canceled.
Yeah, I did see that at the bottom, and this would be a Muay Thai fight. That'll be a good one.
Mhm.
What interesting to me though is Adrian Lee making his debut. I believe the youngest Lee fighter. I think this is a terrible idea for Adrian Lee to fight in one. Right? Seems like
Mhm.
the worst move to go into MMA in one championship. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but these guys are fighters. They're morons. So they're going to keep making
That's true.
mistakes that are bad for them.
Hey, I won't argue with that. He says Rodtang, Liam, and Katano missed weight. Yeah, so they
Hydration
all
test.
missed. Yeah, they all missed the hydration test, and I'm like, I've been saying this for a long time. I feel like that's just all fake. Like the hydration test is like just like a fake thing. Because like I saw a guy on MMA on Point, pass the hydration test with what was it, distilled water?
What? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'll have to send you that video, and he shows like how you pass it. So it's like a weird thing, but I just don't understand how always the headlining fights seem to miss weight. Let me see. Uncle Chachi will look out for him. What could go wrong? Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong? Right? Yeah, like the
Maybe
rest of.
some time in the pen in Shotri jail.
Well, no,
That's
like the rest of the Lee family has just had a great time over at one championship.
oh yeah, they are thriving.
Yeah, I just think it's weird, but I'm sure he'll get a win. And actually, as to Dane's point, Uncle Chachi will take care of him. I believe that's true. He'll get some good matchmaking. We'll see.
Yeah, he's
Now,
going to take care of them. All right, he'll take
do you
care of
know
them.
anything about this girl Denise who was going to fight Stamp and is now fighting Grand Jean?
I do not know that much, but I do know that I picked Souza against Granjean one time, and I got so pissed during that fight that I'll never doubt Granjean again. Honestly, I could see Granjean even beating her
So this was the
because
fight that Hank was talking about before I rudely interrupted him to talk about Adrian Lee. Cade Rutello making his MMA debut. Super interesting to me, actually.
yeah,
Don't
it's
know
fun.
anything about this Blake Carpenter guy, but yeah. What's your assessment?
My assessment is that Ruotolo, as much as he gets pieced up, is going to find an in for that takedown. Looks like Blake Cooper doesn't have that much of a professional
Oh, it's
record.
Cooper. My bad.
Looks like he's sort of I thought for a second that he was one of the members of the Carpenters back in the
Yeah, I don't know
19th
why I
century.
said that.
But you've dissuaded me from that point of view. Ruotolo, I think he's just too quick for Blake Cooper, no matter what he does, and eventually he's going to shoot for that leg, and he's going to get it like a fish to water. And once he has him down on the ground, I think it's going to be game over. The only scary thing is if Ruotolo rushes in first thing like he's atomic Alonzo Manyfield and gets knocked the hell out. But I don't see that happening. I think Ruotolo's too smart. And just look at that handsome face. There's no way it's getting marked up.
It's just weird. Like I feel like Chaudhry knows what he's doing. He's gonna get Cade the win here, but
Mm-hmm.
you never know what the fuck's gonna happen in one, man.
Like
It's like
pride.
it's the weirdest thing ever. Honestly, the whole promotion, especially on the MMA side. Um, Dane saying that she is a good matchup for the women. Yeah, I've heard things about Grand Jean and Denise, but and I'm sure that's why we're gonna have Stamp fighter to be the first 3-sport world champion.
It's very impressive.
But Liam Harrison versus Katsuki Kitano. I'm sure I've seen him fight before, but I am not familiar with Katsuki. What's the lowdown on this one?
I have no idea what the lowdown is. I was only doing locks.
Dane would know. Dane,
Yeah,
let us know.
let's hear it from Dane. Why don't you make a comment, Dane? We're relying on you, brother. You're our co-host. Come on now.
Yeah, and Dane's the guy I went to one in Denver with, and
Nice.
he
He'd
seems
know.
to know his stuff a little more about one. I'm
Didn't
actually gonna hit him up for some bets.
didn't Isha make a big deal about Liam Harrison having to have some sort of dream fight for Liam Harrison on his way out, and then it didn't really work out?
I have no idea. Dane says he's a Rise kickboxer. Well, that doesn't mean anything.
I thought he
I
had
mean,
Liam Harrison on his podcast at some point, but I have no idea. So apparently he's favored in this matchup, so I'll give it to Harrison. He seems like a personality from whatever media appearances I've gotten from him, so hopefully he wins.
yeah, and I mean, has Liam Harrison ever been in a boring fight? Like,
No,
no, he hasn't. I mean, a Rise kickboxer could mean he's a really good kickboxer or he's a really bad kickboxer.
terrible kickboxer.
Right? Yeah, so the range there is Pretty crazy. Then you got Mikey Musumeci taking on
Mikey,
a man,
a man.
a guy. Like I don't know.
Hey, he's got a Brazilian Japanese heritage mix. Look at that.
I mean, I don't know. This sounds probably really ignorant to say, not knowing anything about
0-2. He said he was
Hayo
0-2.
Souza. Musumeci's probably gonna get this one done.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, he was 0-2 in Rise. Wow, what a great.
What an amazing layup.
What is one doing? And then he's gonna fight Liam Harrison in Muay Thai. Like, all right. Well, thank you for that info.
Here we
then you
go.
got Rod Tank taking on Dennis Purich. Now, Dennis Purich, he won his last fight. I'm gonna go to the matchup page here. He won his last fight against. Let me see. Oh fuck! Why is it not on there?
Oh,
my apologies.
I
did watch his last fight, and it was a pretty good fight. And then he called out Rod Tank. Yeah, a man named Jacob Smith. Then he called out Rod Tank, and I was like, "Oh, that was a good fight and a good win." It was a pretty competitive Muay Thai fight, from my memory. But I in no way expected him to actually get the Rod Tank fight. You know what I'm saying?
Treatment.
Hey, what's up, Kenneth Bridges? Good to see you, my man. Another homie from Rush Hour jumping in. And No Chill from fucking City Life, my man. Good to see you. Yeah, so Purich got the win in his last fight, calls out Rod Tank, actually gets the fight. So Rod Tank he's like an anomaly. You know, I compare him to Tank Davis in boxing. Like he's more of an attraction than like really fighting the fights that you want to see him outside of the Superlek fight.
Outside of Superlek, yep.
Like what the fuck, you know? Superlek gets all the good fights while Rod Tank kind of hangs back and just kind of takes on these weird random fights. Like in Denver, I think he fought a guy named Edgar Tabares. And I don't know if he's really had that many fights. I know he's had a fight since then, but I just can't remember against who. But yeah, it's just weird. The matchmaking for him is weird.
Yeah, it usually is. And I predict that Rod Tang is going to get knocked down once. What's going to happen to Rod Tang? And then he's going to somehow win the fight like he always does.
Well, Dennis Purich, he has a really like Taekwondo heavy style. So again, you know, he's a scrapper. He's a little bit older. At 39, yeah, a little. Jeez, gosh, this guy's almost 40. What the fuck? He looked really good in his last fight, though.
What's Rod Tang 26? He looks fucking 40.
Well, Rod Tang is 40 in Muay Thai years. He's been fighting since he was like, you know, out the womb. So, but yeah, I don't understand this booking, but you know, it's always good to have Rod Tang active and fighting.
It was Edgar Juarez Tabares was his last opponent before Superlek.
Oh wow! So the last time he fought was in Denver in God, when was it? May. Last year in May. Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. So he's been out forever. Now
he's insane.
Like Peter.
Well, he was supposed to fight Superlek, and then no, didn't he fight Superlek in between there?
It was afterwards.
He totally did.
Yeah, it was afterwards.
Oh, yeah. But he was supposed to fight Takeru, and then he got injured. So just you know, one thing about Rod Tank that I will give him credit for. I mean, like you said, he's only 26. He will take a warm-up fight. Like, he does not give a fuck. He will take a warm-up fight. It's good and it's bad. I personally don't mind, but at the same time, it's just weird. They just book him so weird, and especially on this card, right? Like, it's just like, okay, word.
So many fights get canceled as we've seen. So, one schedule and its matchmaking is all over the freaking place.
And another interesting thing about this fight is in kickboxing.
Yay.
Kind of weird. Anyway, another kickboxing fight. The lightweight champion Tawan Chai is going to defend his belt against Joe Nadawat. So, Joe Nadawat in his last fight, who was it against? Fuck. This is just great analysis here. Anyway, long story short, the guy looked amazing, and my buddy Dane actually put me on to smoking Joe Nadawat. This guy's a fucking hell of a fighter, man. Nice. He's gonna give Tawan Chai a hell of a fight too. Tawanchai is extremely technical, and so is Joe. But I think Joe is a little bit more of a brawler. Obviously taking Smoking Joe Frazier's nickname. He is a brawler, and he's gonna bring it, man. And I'm actually really, really looking forward to this fight.
Yeah. When he finishes Tawanchai, everybody's gonna go, not a what?
So you actually are picking him to win.
No, I have no horse in this race. I have no idea.
This is also a rematch.
People are. I have no idea who any of these people are.
And this is a rematch too.
Okay, he's probably gonna lose then.
And their fight was amazing. Like it was really close. And then he beat Luke the Chef in Muay Thai. So this is weird. This whole card is weird, man.
Yeah, well, that's one for you, especially in this year.
So
hopefully they bounce back. Have a big card. I'm just looking forward to the Haggerty card.
Yes, but yeah, keep it going. So that's
right.
one. That's 167.
After 167, we have LFA 185. I had a completely different fighter that I was picking for this card, but apparently his fight canceled at the very last minute. So I made a very quick last minute change, and now I'm going with Mauricio Rodriguez via round 1 submission. That's how he finishes his fights. The other guy he's fighting gets subbed by round 1 in his last couple fights. It makes all the sense in the world. So MMA math, I'm charting the numbers in, and I found my perfect solution to that problem. So I think this guy's going to win pretty easy. He's at a 99% on Tapology. It's not even a new fight. So they got him slotted in to win. It's pretty easy. And then Cage Warriors 173. They changed the main card to Wilson Reyes, not Dominic Reyes. Thank God. The poor bastard's going to be on the UFC card instead. So Wilson Reyes got switched to the main event, but actually it used to be Damon Wilson who had his main event on this card, and then he got cheated out of it, or either that or Tapology is really bad at organizing card orders until the very last minute.
One or the other.
Crazy. And Damon Wilson, he beats most of the guys who have even records by decision. He beat a 3-3 guy by decision. This guy's literally a freaking 2-2. I don't know why Tapology had him in the main event for so long. Makes no sense. So if Wilson's against anybody who's got an even padded record, looks like Wilson just squeaks out the decision victory. So I got him by decision. Pretty simple. And he's got a lot of people who are behind him. So makes sense to me. It gets more exciting down the road looking at these other cards, though. PFL Europe 2, Electric Boogaloo. I have Mark Ewan by round 2 KO. His opponent gets finished quite a lot. And Mark Ewan, it seems in standard fashion, like GM3 with a round 3 submission, finishes his fights via round 2 TKO time. So I got him with the exact same result. It seems impossible for him to finish a fight in the first round. So I got him by round 2 KO. But he's like Welsh. He's from Wales. So looking forward to seeing someone from that area succeed. And then Octagon 58. I love this kid, Shamrock. I think he's Welsh as well, or either that or he's from the UK area, England. I got him by round 1 submission. He has literally subbed all of his last 5 or 6 opponents by round 1 submission. This guy's an absolute phenom when it comes to the grappling. Hopefully, he doesn't turn into a Sterling Archer or these other guys who are great wrestlers and then get absolutely butt whooped going into round 3 and make me look like a moron, because that's how these English cards usually go with grapplers. But Shamrock, man, he is the Shamrock of whole Ireland or England or wherever he's from. So I got him by round 1 submission, pretty easy. Then we got RIZIN, baby, RIZIN, where I'm gonna lose even more sleep.
Let's go through that one. Let's actually go through it.
I got Karshia Dotbeck by round 1 KO.
I'll pull it up here.
But we can get to that in a little bit. Given you're more of an expert, let's hear your thoughts on the card.
An expert? I don't know about that. Here's a good one right here. Clever Koki versus Juan Archuleta.
He's definitely a Koki.
I like this fight. Clever. Not the most accomplished. What is this? Oh my gosh, this fucking Tapology, dude. What is this at? Is this at Bantam or Feather?
Who knows?
It's probably at featherweight. I think that didn't Juan Archuleta fight Roberto Souza
Maybe.
In a main event or some shit like that. He missed weight, and so they're giving him Kleber's like the guy you fight before
Good push.
he's like the gatekeeper to the title.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, either way, Juan Archuleta always in a decent scrap, and so is Kleber here, and their grappling is probably pretty even, I would say, though it says that Juan is he's a smaller guy, okay. So I don't know, it might come down to I don't think Kleber's going to be able to like, dominate Juan on the ground, so I'll be interested to see where the striking goes, with this bout here.
We got to mention something quick, Skatesman.
Yeah, of
With
course.
the LFA card, 2 of No Chill's guys that he had on his best prospects for every state in North America are going to be fighting on the LFA card. Rich
Okay.
and Tyler Sugar Free Scott. I watched his video. Those guys are absolutely sick in fighting and in grappling. So I would look forward to that card to see how these American prospects do. They're pretty good.
I missed some of these fights. Johnny Case, he's always in a good fight. Koji Takeda. Oh man, this is sick. Why do they have Koji doing MMA, dude? And you just have him do fucking kickboxing, dude.
Wow.
Against what is this, a Moroccan guy or some shit? Kyrgyzstan? Dude, I love Koji Takeda, but they're putting up against a Dulayev. Oh no, a 9-0 Dulayev. Fuck, dude, that's not cool. And then here you go, right here, man. I mean, what can you say? Spike motherfucking Carlisle
it's
is gonna fight. Oh my gosh, I love Spike Carlisle, dude. I love this guy. I cannot wait to watch this insane fight. He goes 0 to 60 in like 5 seconds. Oh yeah, Takeda versus a Muslim grappler. Why? Literally, yeah. Like, come on, guys. I love Koji. That'll be just great fun. This is the guy you're picking by KO.
Beck. His record looks all right on paper, according to Anthony Smith. But if you look at his last 5 to 6 fights, they've all been first round KO. This guy is a KO machine. Scary. He's what Shavkat Rachmanov was before Wonder Boy. So I'm looking forward to seeing this guy stand and bang. And I think I picked another guy on like a 1 or a RIZIN card, and who was from that region too, and he absolutely decimated his opponent. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this Kazakh getting a nasty finish too. It's going to be the highlight of the card, I think.
And then obviously the main event, which they're running it back. This was a fight in Bellator. I'm sure we all remember where Kyoji just outclassed Sergio for 5 whole entire rounds. I remember watching the fight, just like, dude, Sergio just can't do anything to this poor bastard. Like, or the poor bastard Sergio couldn't do anything to Kyoji. And I was like, Kyoji is the man.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Kyoji's back. He's amazing. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was getting ready to like get up and do something else, because the card was about to end. Yeah. And Sergio Pettis lands this combo he'd been trying throughout the entire fight, where he throws a head kick, kind of like a roundhouse kick, right? Over Kyoji's head, and then he's spinning back fist. So he lands it perfect, clean, on the chin, and he just straight up murks Kyoji, knocks him out cold. Nice. So, I am really looking forward to this fight, but I would say I would be a little bit more bummed if it was in Bellator or PFL. But because it's in RIZIN, I'm not entirely sure. I believe their numbered events are always in a ring.
Right.
So it's always good when there's a new element, and the superior rule set that we keep telling you guys. I mean, we don't even need to tell you guys. Obviously,
it's a cult at this point. It's a cult.
But yeah, that's gonna be some good shit. I mean, just shoot that good MMA into my veins.
Hook it to my veins.
What's your pick? What's your pick on this one here?
I think that it's gonna be Horiguchi, because he dominated the last time.
Yeah,
Sergio won via So I think that Horiguchi's just going to beat him from start to finish.
Yeah, it's hard not to pick Kyoji based on that last performance. And on home soil, in a rule set he's more familiar with, definitely picking
Just makes
Kyoji
all the
here
sense in
to
the
get
world.
it done.
And I wish
Right.
that Dana could sign him one of these days, but I'm guessing he never will because he still hates Pride.
Well, there was rumors that he was gonna go to the UFC, but I don't know what happened to that. And I believe it was actually addressed in Ariel's show, which I don't believe.
But Horiguchi should go to BKFC.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he said. Was that a soundbite from Ariel?
Yeah, I mean that was word for word. I was playing something on my phone. That was
one
Ariel's
more
voice.
thing. Look at this fight poster, man.
Let's see it.
I mean,
Nice.
can we just can the UFC just try to do something that looks like that? I mean, what are we doing here?
No, they
Instead,
put
they
in
got to
any more.
do a sideways,
Yeah,
weird
and instead they got to put only two fighters' faces, and they got to put yellow on top of it. So they look super scary. Like, in front of, hey everybody, it's Pee Wee Herman. So it looks stupid. It look like they're on Pee Wee Herman show. So
Any other regional picks that are locks or anything like that?
Nope, that's it. I pretty much covered everyone.
Our long 14 fight Louisville card.
Yeah, it's more than UFC 302, so that makes it a better card already.
All right, guys. Getting into the meat and potatoes of this show here.
Yep.
So, as you know, as Hank just hates me for, I make my picks on the fly here. They're subject to change.
I don't hate you. I just moderately dislike you.
That's fair. As do many people. All right. An Indian woman named Pooja fighting Rayanne Amanda.
It looks like Nina Drama, Indian Nina Drama.
I believe I saw Rayanne Amanda's debut. I think it was another opening fight, Alan Carr. I remember this fight. It was a close split decision. I thought she probably won, so she did well. Going up against this Indian woman who has a split decision 2 years ago and then a 3 KO streak. So, what do you do here? Indians have not done well in MMA, as we have seen with the great, legendary Anshul Jabli. Yeah, just the best fighter, and Arjun Bhullar. So, but then again, it's like the UFC wants these Indians to succeed because they want that market so bad. Dana he needs new markets. He does not have enough money or enough shoes or enough imported snow on Christmas to make Las Vegas, very Christmassy. So he just has to have the Indian market. He doesn't know what to do with himself unless he gets the Indian market. So, you almost go okay, is this? Go ahead.
There was a poster that the UFC put up during a press conference in 2009, 2010 that said UFC world fucking domination. And I think that Dana's sort of committed to that. He wants it in every region of the world. He wants a fight camp in every region of the world until it's time to put a fight night in Africa, in which case he can't do it.
Well, I mean, just look at the response that when Jubilee fought. Like everybody's, live chat was getting stormed with Indians.
There you go.
So I mean, of course, and I believe that the most people in the world live along the Ganges River. So why wouldn't you want, that market? But I'm just talking shit today. He says he gives 3% of his profits to the Fighters Gate. He only gets 97% of the UFC revenue absorbed back into the company. He needs more. Exactly. Can't get enough markets, but I digress.
It's like
so part of you wants to say, okay, they're giving the Indian girl a layup, right? They want her to win. Part of you goes, the Indians suck. She's gonna get exposed. It's women's MMA. The only thing I really, really, truly do know is this fight will go to decision.
Yep.
Right? That's the only thing you can guarantee. And another thing that kind of sucks is, women's strawweight was the weight class to watch in the UFC. But in recent times, it feels like it's just kind of fallen off with the domination of Wei Li Zhang.
Yeah, she has good
I have
fights. She does have good fights.
I have to go with Rayanne Amanda because I thought she was a serviceable fighter in her last fight. But honestly, man, I couldn't tell you what's gonna happen.
Yep. Well, I can sort of try to tell you what's going to happen. The UFC keeps trying to put their eggs in the basket of India as a potential magnet for new fans, and every single time they end up getting let down. This time it's a phenom in one named Pooja Tamar, a woman with all finishes in her last 3 fights. Impressive, right? Well, not really. The ones she's knocked out with punches had awful records, and her TKO was due to her opponent taking one too many leg kicks. Great. Jonathan Martinez was good at leg kicks, and then he got dominated by a 37-year-old. For Tamar, her kryptonite is getting taken down, and in all of her losses, she's been taken down quite a lot.
Wow.
It doesn't matter if she gets plenty of finishes. The minute she finds someone with grappling skills and knowledge of her weakness, she's kissing the canvas, especially at a professional level. Meanwhile, guess how Ryan Amanda beats almost all of her opponents? Submissions and control time. For such a promising figure the UFC clearly wants to promote, they sure put her against a bit of a nightmare matchup for her debut fight. I expect Tomar to throw a few good shots that make the crowd go ooh and ah. And then eventually she'll be off with her timing, and Amanda's going to shoot a great takedown and either twist a limb or absolutely dominate her on the ground for the rest of the fight. Another L for India on the big stage. She will not redeem, sir! I am not going to help her with her tech support journal.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, only thing I know for sure is this will go to decision. But hey, I've been wrong many times. So, and Nocho likes your breakdown. Hey, and we appreciate you being here, man. Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Next fight is Cody Stamann versus Taylor Lapilus. So this is like a pretty typical striker versus grappler matchup. Cody Stamann's gonna try to wrestle and not to say that he doesn't have like serviceable striking, but obviously Taylor Lapilus has a lot of kickboxing experience. But and this is a bantamweight fight, which we just love bantamweight. 19-4 is the record for Taylor Lapilus, 21-6-1 for Cody Stamann. I kind of screwed myself over here because I once said after Taylor Lapilus's last loss to Farid Basharat that he would not ever get another win in the UFC. So that's what I said, and I guess I got to stick to it, man. And not only that, I'm not like one of these guys that just is like super low on Cody Stamann, not super high on him either. But also not high on French guys. So I got to pick Stamann. Do I think he subs or knocks out Lapilus? I don't. I think he wins the decision pretty handily. Just controlling him in the grappling, the way everybody loves. Hank will probably come on here on Sunday and tell you it was a robbery. But that's my pick. Oh, as your screen went away.
Oh, whoops. Well, let me present real quick.
But yeah, like I said, either way, I backed myself into a corner because on another show I did say. Now I could totally just like.
Oh, you usually do.
I'm just saying I could totally just forget and not mention that. But hey, I'm a man of my word. I said Taylor Lapilus wouldn't get another win in the UFC. I guess I gotta stick with that though, no matter how terrible it may be.
Thank God I never made that promise. Lapilus is a very underrated striker, in my opinion, who went on a hot streak in Aries and just recently lost a decision to Farid Basharat, which I think is nothing.
And no shame in that either.
Yeah, no shame. He's really good at range, and I think he has a very consistent, accurate output when it comes to the striking. Nothing to sneeze at, but still very reliable. While I worry that he could potentially get taken down in this fight, given that's how he lost his last fight.
I mean, look at Cody Stamann's headband. You know, he's coming to wrestle.
Yeah, I know. He's Johnny from Cobra Kai. He's the 80s bully who's ready to wreak whatever his name's ass over breaking his radio or whatever. Wait, what was his name? Danny Trejo or something? No, that's the guy with the handlebar mustache.
That's Machete. Yeah, I've never seen Cobra Kai. So
yeah, Karate Kid. Ralph Macchio, that's his name. Ralph Macchio. He's gonna beat Ralph Macchio's ass in this picture. Put him in a body bag. Anyway, this has gone off topic. Well, I worry he could potentially get taken down in this fight, given that's how he lost his last fight. Cody Stamann is not on the level of Farid Basharat. In fact, I feel like he's on the decline since he lost to Douglas Silva de Andrade, and his
Who
only
was
win.
also fighting on this card.
And almost every single fighter from some other card is fighting on this card. Like the synchronicity timing is really weird. Like there's like 6 or 7 fighters who fought each other and now they're on the same card.
They're on the same schedule, man.
Yeah, I hate these schedules. Boring. Anyway, he's not on the level of Basharat. In fact, he's on the decline since Andrade, and his only wins before that have been against other fighters in decline like Luan Lacerda and Eddie Wineland. Cody has decent wrestling, but Lapalus has just as good takedown defense, and on the feet, it's not even close. Cody has a 64-inch reach. Lapalus has a 73-inch reach. It's not going to look pretty in the cage after a few rounds if Cody doesn't take him down. A T-Rex with no chance of getting a takedown is going to look like Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 294, trying his best to get any offense in, but just not being able to. I think that Lapalus dominates him for 3 rounds, but won't get a finish because getting knockdowns isn't a strong suit, and Cody's too young to get chinned. Plus, they're wearing the new gloves, so that reduces his ability to even further. I think he'll have an easy road to a decision.
That's fucking funny.
And poor Cody will be one more loss away from getting cut, which is warranted at this point, but I hope that he gets to stay, man.
Fuck. We're just going to end the show right now. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Okay, well, there you go. And we got our first little debate, the second fight in. And our next fight is a woman named Eduarda, which I've never heard that name before. And this is what I love about MMA. You get all kinds of mix of names, and I know how to say people from Kazakhstan's names and shit, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk, you know what I'm saying? I would have never learned these things if it wasn't for MMA. So thank you, MMA. Versus Denise Gomez. So Denise Gomez was coming in hot after her Contender Series win to Rayanne Amanda, which again, as Hank alluded to earlier,
is on this card. All of them are.
Oh, loses a fight to Loma Lukbumbi. To me, hey man, you lose a fight to Loma, no big deal. Bruna Brazil, she knocks out, and Yasmin Jauregui, she knocks out after everyone was saying Yasmin Jauregui was the best thing since sliced bread.
Sliced bread is good.
And then she loses to Angela Hill about 6 months ago.
Yay!
But the saving grace here is that she's only 24 years old. She's going up against this Eduarda. Ronda is her nickname, which I'm guessing has something to do with Ronda Rousey. And she is 10-0, just looking good, submitting fools, knocking girls out in her debut. Montserrat Caneo Ruiz, who is actually a grappler, right? So yeah, it's kind of tough to pick. Obviously, you probably would want to go with Eduarda, ride the momentum there. And this could be a situation where, Eduarda wins, she just has a little bit more skills or whatever. And Denise's still young. And, either way, like what I'm trying to say is like a loss doesn't hurt her stock very much. Without doing a lot of research, I do want to pick Denise. But again, I'm just not sure about this women's fight. And as we've seen with the judging recently, you never really know what's going to happen. So again, only thing I'm sure about is this fight goes to the decision. I'm going to pick Denise tentatively.
There we have it. I got a different opinion on this. I think that Mora is a super freak, man. And not because she's 5 pounds over for her UFC.
Or Rick James.
Yeah, she's a super freak.
Wait, she came in 5 pounds heavy?
Huh?
She came in 5 pounds heavy?
In her last fight. Yeah,
she did. Got you.
Completely overweight. And she's probably going to be again, if we're being honest. Her takedowns are powerful, and she can beat up and dominate other women on the ground to the point of getting finishes, which is often a rarity to see in women's MMA, and honestly a breath of fresh air to see in its current age. Thankfully, she's a Brazilian tomboy. So, once again, the rules and conventions of female fighting can be entirely ripped apart for this one. The extra pounds no doubt will help her out if she keeps being a dirty weight cheat. And as long as she's this talented entering the top 15, Natalia, Bruna, Ricci, she could make a real name for herself, like those three. She's going up against Denise Gomez, who isn't shy to finish her opponents either, knocking out the undefeated Yasmin Uruguay in 20 seconds.
Uruguay. I think that's a country in South America.
It is, yeah. Well, she's definitely from there. It sounds similar. Finishing Bruna Brazil and beating up Ryan Amanda. Interesting how the schedules of these former opponents always end up syncing at one point or another. However, once she's up against actually decent and well-rounded female fighters, she often gets outclassed, like she was against Loma Lukbomi and Angela Hill.
And to be fair, they're not like the most well-rounded. Like, obviously, both women have Angela and Loma have good takedown defense, but they're mostly strikers, as is Denise. I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually see Eduarda Mora as potentially on the same level as those two solid fighters, not more so due to her consistent finishing ability and power in the stand-up and on the ground. If she gets Gomez down on the ground and keeps her there, I think it's safe to say it's game over for her. Mora is just a monster on top, and will Brazilian woman her way to finish sooner or later, or maybe Brazilian man is more apropos. I'm thinking round 2 or 3, perhaps submission since she got a KO last time, and usually these fighters switch it up. Plus, Gomez is no slouch and new gloves. It's only going to be more of this kind of domination in the future for Mora, especially if she keeps missing weight. So he's going to keep dominating, folks.
Now we get into the real like slogness of the card.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this.
So we've got John Castaneda versus Daniel Marcos. Daniel Marcos was a big favorite in his last fight, but then he got disqualified, right?
And ruined my lock.
He kicked a Riki Lang in the nuts, and then the fight got called off.
Right. Didn't win against Davey Grant. Did not win against Davey Grant.
Oh, okay. I don't really remember that fight, but I think that's a good win to have on your record. And obviously, the fight was close.
It was.
Okay. Simon Oliveira, Brandon Lewis, whatever. And then on the other side, you got John Castaneda, who won a fight over Kyung Ho Kang, which sounds like a martial arts movie. Guy, Muin Gafurov. And he got knocked out by a Daniel. So,
damn, Daniel.
But look, 2 years ago, you get submitted by Miles Johns and knocked out by Eddie Wineland 3 years ago. Nice. I gotta go with Daniel Marcos. I know I've seen these fucking guys fight, but I just could not recall at all what they've done. It's at bantamweight. Daniel is 31. John's 32. So yeah, they're both in their prime. The one thing is, Peru. Always a lot of good kickboxing and like striking coming out of Peru, unless your name is Claudio Puelles.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that Daniel Marcos is the right pick here. What say you, my friend?
There is one thing that Daniel Marcos has done so far in his UFC career: put red hair dye on himself, and probably on his body with the misses when he's trying to get frisky.
I remember the red hair guy now. Okay, you're kind of
he's the red hair guy. His period is
bringing me back. You're bringing me back.
Yeah. So I think both these guys are just aight. Sexy Mexi John Castaneda has found some success as of late in his last couple of fights against complete nobodies, but he just edged out a decision against 36-year-old Kyung Ho Kang, which really makes me have my suspicions regarding his potential against guys who are more talented and better at striking than he is. Enter Daniel Marcos, who has had his ups and downs in terms of performance, but at his best is putting guys away or very clearly outstriking them and doing good work against tricky matchups. I know he shouldn't have won against Dwight Grant, but even so, just surviving against Grant is impressive, and he was piecing up Orle Quing, whatever his name is, for as long as that fight was lasting.
Arichi
Lang. He was beating him up for as long as that fight was lasting before both guys engaged in a who can kick the other guy in the nuts harder contest. I know that your boy Eric Cartman would win that contest 10 times out of 10.
Rochambeau.
Yeah, Rochambeau.
You know how you win a Rochambeau, right? You go first.
I know. Well, Eric goes first, right?
Every time, yes.
My point is that Marcos has way more potential, and I think he'll fill some potential gaps in his footwork for this fight with Castaneda, and hopefully show us what his potential will be at a high level in the bantamweight division. Adding even more prestige to that weight class would be the best outcome, but it's Daniel Marcos, so I have absolutely no clue.
Yeah, fair enough. And again, it's like we don't really. I don't really remember the fights that these guys have had myself.
Who should?
Our next fight is Andrea Lee versus Montana De La Rosa, who looked really good coming in to the UFC. Then she loses by knockout to Lipsky, and both of these fighters are on losing streaks. Montana to Macy Barber, Tatiana Suarez, and JJ Aldrich. Andrea Lee to Vivian and Araujo, Macy Barber, Natalia Silva, and Miranda Maverick. Um, Andrea Lee's losing streak going back almost 2 years now. Not good. So somebody's somebody's losing streak has to go. You know what I'm saying? So you got a 35-year-old versus a 29-year-old. To me, this is a tough fight to pick because obviously Montana's the younger fighter, but I think Andrea Lee, like if they were both the same age, obviously Andrea Lee wins this fight. But it's a weird fight to pick. Another one where I'm just not sure. I think it goes probably to split decision. I want to pick Andrea Lee, but I'm just really not certain. I think that Andrea Lee's just got the better kickboxing in general, the better striking. Does have a very racist boyfriend. So you're laughing when I say Andrea Lee has the better striking.
No, I was laughing at our boy Isha in the chat.
Oh, hey, what's going on, man?
He's mistaken you for someone else.
Khabib, listen, brother.
Going to smash the tank, brother.
Listen, brother. Andrea Lee has no grappling, brother. Which I think is how Montana could win this fight. Again, guys, I don't fucking know what's gonna happen here. I gotta make a pick.
Belt. She got black belt the other day.
I gotta make a pick. I don't want to pick Andrea Lee. So I guess I'll pick Montana, but again, these are subject to change.
All right. I'm surprised we have so many differences we have in these couple fights. They're all close and they're all bad talent. So honestly, I should have expected this. I got Andrea Lee by decision. After 3 years of drought, KGB Andrea Lee is finally drinking water again in her fight with Montana De La Rosa. De La Rosa is just not that good, as her record shows, at striking or grappling, and her loss to JJ Aldrich is not aging well at the moment. She had some impressive finishes in the past, but they are long behind her now. The same can be said for Andrea Lee. It's honestly a miracle she hasn't been cut from the UFC, 4-fight losing streak. But those losses are often ones where she has gone to very close decisions with great competitors, including, in my opinion, a win against Macy Barber. I know it went to a split, but I think that she won against Barber. Women who should, and that's a credible loss to have, especially when it's with a split. Women who should have finished her, she survived until the final round. And against a clunky can like De La Rosa, I think that Lee's athleticism and surprising speed and hands at her age are going to shine through. And she will stuff all of De La Rosa's takedowns and beat her up enough for a clear decision win this time. Definitely the first time I'll be supporting the KGB, though. And not the fighter, the country.
So we move up the card. Brad Katona's fighting, I believe, a debuting fighter at 135, Jesse Butler. No, this is the guy that got knocked out by Jim Miller.
Oh, boy.
I remember this guy. Surprisingly, somehow I remember this guy. He got viciously knocked out by Jim Miller, I believe. That was a bad knockout. Now, Brad Katona lost his last fight to Garrett Armfield, but he looked pretty good, I think, right? Like, in the fight. I didn't think he looked terrible. So I'm gonna pick Brad Katona, get this one done. I'm not sure how he gets it done. Just not knowing too much about one Mr. Jesse Butler, who, to be fair to him, in that vicious knockout loss to Jim Miller, he was coming in on short notice and actually fighting Jim Miller at 155, I believe.
Crazy.
So I guess he's actually at his natural weight class in 135. But yeah, I guess.
Poor Butler.
This matchup makes no sense to me, actually, to tell you the truth. I guess they probably were like, hey, sorry you got knocked out, late notice, but we'll promise, you take this fight against Jim Miller on short notice, we'll get you another fight. So I guess this is that fight.
Yeah, I'm sorry to break you and Isha's hearts because I know that he's a big Canada guy. I don't know why, but apparently he is. Jesse Butler, I got him by decision. First of all, how the fuck did Jesse Butler cut all the way down to bantamweight from lightweight? Second of all, why is Brad Katona a 9-1 favorite on Tapology when he was absolute trash in his last fight with Garrett Armfield? Couldn't land anything of substance. All his takedowns failed, and he has an atrocious reach to boot. T-Rex arms once again. God didn't give this Irish Canadian any favors, and yet somehow he still won 2 seasons of tough. He got exposed so bad against Armfield, and he was my lock for that god-awful UFC 297, so that makes this embarrassment of a performance all the worse. I'm done supporting this Conor Glazer, this former lightweight, who is taller and has a reach 9 inches longer than Katona's. He's got a 9-inch reach over Katona, taller too. I think he's going to pick him apart at range and make sure that this is his last fight in the UFC. I don't care if he got KO'd by Jim Miller in 23 seconds. If anyone's dominating this fight and getting a finish, I think it's going to be Butler. But since it's the new gloves era, I'll go with him by decision. He ain't going to be no Butler.
The new gloves. Oh, man. You've mentioned the new gloves in every single fight of this card,
Not every
man.
single one. Not every single one.
You're never going to let the new gloves thing go. Look, they're not new gloves. I hate to break it to you, bro. They're literally not new gloves. They're the same gloves. Like, just
they're new gloves to me, damn it.
It's like when George Lucas re-released the Star Wars movies, and he just like took some things out and added a few. I think he took away Jabba the Hutt smoking a cigarette or some shit like that. It's the same shit. Isha is really giving it to you here. And one thing I'll say is you can't be so upset when your picks don't hit when you're this confident in it. You're you have this supreme confidence about you, which is why I love you. But when your picks don't hit, you get so upset. So, I don't know what you got to do, man. It's like I understand that you're so confident and for that reason, you do your research and it's warranted. But yeah, man, it's just weird. It's like you can't get super bummed when your picks don't hit, especially on a fight with on a card with competitive matchups.
All right, man. I'm done getting so passionate. Okay, I'm gonna get less emotional and stop getting so excited about this. I'm gonna hate MMA. Okay, you guys.
He said you're more obsessed with these gloves than JL is with Bilal Muhammad.
Good. Until somebody gets a KO in the UFC, I'm gonna keep ragging on him until the day I die. You hear me? Somebody better get a KO in 5 seconds.
Okay, so that's what Hank's saying. He said with the new gloves it'll go to decision. Gotcha. Yeah, and I don't look, guys.
Damn it. Let me finish my prediction. He ain't gonna be no Butler for Brad to walk over. Trust. He's going to beat him so bad, not even Canada's going to give him insurance for the medical bill because giving him the 98 surgeries for free would bankrupt their entire system. So I got Butler kicking his ass because he's taller, he's got better reach, and he got put out by Jim Miller. But guess what? That was his debut fight. Give this Butler a chance, Mr. Wayne.
Great notes there, my friend. Our next fight is Charles Radke versus Carlos
really
Prates at welterweight. 9-3 for Charles Radke, 18-6 for one Mr. Carlos Prates, who has been on a knockout streak as of late, knocking out Trevin Giles. But to be fair to Trevin, I believe he was mostly a middleweight coming down to welterweight. We've seen what happens when you got it's like that 170 cutoff. You're usually terrible at 185. If you're good at 170, you do good at 185. So Carlos knocking out Mitch Ramirez, and this guy's literally just been on a tear. Knocking out Charles Oliveira with a jab? What? Different. That can't be Charles Oliveira. That's got. I mean,
to be fair, totally Charles, you guys.
They're running out of names in Brazil. They just cannot. They don't have enough names. It's like women's strawweight. They just don't have enough people to fight. And don't have names.
They cloned Hitler in Argentina. They're probably gonna clone people in Brazil too.
And then Radke getting the KO against Urbina, who is not a very good fighter, but I believe like won the Ultimate Fighter one year, or was like a in the finals, and then beating the legendary Mike Mathena, also known as Blood Diamond. So, I mean, your initial thought here is to pick Prates, the nightmare, but I mean, this guy is a fucking a monster. 6'1" at welterweight. The only way I think Radke really wins this fight is by getting him down and controlling him. I was gonna pick Radke when I first saw this, but I think it's pretty safe to pick Mr. Prates. I don't know what the method is. Probably will be knockout, but actually, I don't think it's smart to go to decision. So I'll pick a round 2 KO. And that's actually shown in the odds. He is a moderate. It says moderate, but he's a minus 200 favorite. So what say you, my friend?
I got Prates as well. I got him by round 2 KO. That's right. Listen, Charles Radke is a decent prospect despite his behavior and expletives pre and post fight. He has good wrestling and knockout power, and many folks are underestimating his potential in the UFC just because he had a competitive fight with Blood Diamond. However, Carlos Prates is just a KO machine, man. He's knocking out guys he's not supposed to be knocking out, like Trevin Giles and even Charles Oliveira. Well, Charles de Oliveira Santos from some.
Oh, that's his name.
But my point still stands. You knocked out Charles Oliveira. This guy's better than.
I mean, you knock out Charles Oliveira. I mean,
that's something, man. Well, yeah, this guy knocks out everybody in counters, and even in style matchups, he doesn't fare well against. He still finds the KO. So I believe he will survive the takedowns.
And he knocks people out with knees, with his hands, with his kicks. Like this guy's a fucking monster, dude.
He's a monster. So I think he's going to survive Radke's takedowns, even if they're successful as a Brazilian. He will get back up and he will find the chin, either through a left hand or a head kick or a knee, and put away Radke. He just has different power, even if the new gloves will likely stunt his knockout.
Oh my god, the new gloves.
So give me Prates by round 2 KO. Another Charles will fall.
What new gloves? Like they're not new. They're not
Another
new.
Charles will fall. And Radke won't be. Listen, I'm not going to mention it in my notes ever again. Okay, just give me this.
It's funny though. I think it's hilarious.
Okay, here we go. He just has different power. Blah blah blah. New gloves are going to stun his knockout ability. So give me Prates by round 2 KO. Another Charles will fall. And Radke won't be saying it again, Breber, like MMA Guru wants him to. Well, maybe he'll say the word again in his post-fight presser. This is a very close fight, though. Probably one of the most unpredictable of the card. So if you want to sprinkle some money on Radke for the upset, go ahead.
Sorry, that's funny. The new gloves, dude.
Brand new.
Says, wait, are you going to talk about RIZIN? Already did, Isha. You're late. We move up the card. Thiago Moises gonna fight Ludovic Klein. So Ludovic Klein was like, I was really high on this guy when I first saw him. Dude was getting knockouts. Dude was looking exciting, and then something happened. Where he just like, I don't know, just now he's just under the radar, going to unanimous decisions. Like he went on a really long decision streak here, and then he, I mean, getting a win over Bahamunde as a decision win is pretty good. Then he knocked out AJ Cunningham 3 months ago. Why do I not remember that? Do you have any recollection of that?
Wait, what happened?
Ludovic Klein knocking out AJ Cunningham 3 months ago.
Yes, I do. I actually picked him first round knockout. So
okay,
I got that walk right.
Yeah, I don't know why I just don't remember that, but I do like Ludovic Klein. Okay, yeah. I do like Ludovic Klein. And I also do like Moises.
This is a close one.
Getting knocked out by Joao Alvarez 2 years ago, getting a win over Christos Giagos. Melquitzio Costa, who I like to jokingly call Patchy Mix, because he has a and then getting knocked out by Benoit Saint Denis, and then knocking out Mitch Ramirez, who I have no idea who that is. Man, I really want to pick Moises in this fight. I really do. I feel like it's like another a striker versus grappler matchup. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Moises has again like enough, and not like as good a strike, or he has way better striking than I think like Cody Stamen does against Taylor Lapilus. I think Lapilus has a bigger skill gap there. I actually think that Moises is like a serviceable lightweight, but again, we're
Yeah.
talking about lightweight, a division where it's just straight killers. So this is a tough fight for me to pick, man. But just looking at their past fights, um, Joel Alvarez knocking out Moises. That was a brutal, because Moises, I believe, was like ranked in the top 10 and nearing the top 5 before Joel Alvarez just ran through him. And then
Yikes.
he has this weird win streak. Or he has this weird couple wins against Christos Yagos, Melquicio Costa, and
Yikes.
Mitch Ramirez. Losing that fight to Benoit Saint Denis, it's so weird to know
Lost.
exactly where Moises is at. And then Klein has more wins over like, lower ranked guys, but he looks a little bit better in his wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough fight to pick. I really want to pick Moises, but I can see a path to victory for Klein. So I'll pick Moises, but just not married to it.
Well, unfortunately, Gene, I disagree with you. With Ludovic Klein, I got him by round 2 KO. I initially thought that Thiago Moises would be able to win this fight, given the relatively low caliber of Klein's last 2 opponents, and the fact that Moises often loses to the best contenders at lightweight, and I
Yeah,
didn't consider Klein that great a talent at first. However, seeing how much he's improved in the grappling and the striking since his submission loss to Nate the motherfucking Train, which, by the way, took place at featherweight, so he's likely only gotten better moving up a weight class. I feel like he's got too many tools in his toolkit on the feet and on the ground for Moises to deal with. He's a soy BJJ artist, so if you start hurting him, I think he's going to crumble. And Klein has developed power in his hands that Moises is not going to like going into the later rounds. And I feel like at some point, Klein is going to hit him with a shot that's just going to buckle him and make him fall to the canvas like late into round 2. Klein is just getting better and better, or at least at the very least consistent enough that he gives Moises problems in the striking that most good lightweight fighters do against him. Klein is not in decline. So I got him
yeah.
by.
It's just so weird because he was like so exciting. I mean, his nickname is the highlight. And then he had this weird, just like decision streak, which doesn't mean that you're in decline or you're getting, something's wrong, But it was just weird. He just wasn't making any noise, and I think that's a big reason why he hasn't had like a a big fight booked. Um, but yeah, it's just weird. It's so weird. So yeah, it would be awesome to see Ludovic Klein get back on that train, and get some a good win. I think Moises would be a great win to have on his resume myself.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, go ahead and I'll let you, because you already had your pick up there. So go ahead. I'll let you break it down.
Okay. Oh, hold on. There we go. I got Beza via round 3 KO. Here's the thing, you guys. I believe in Beza for this one. Soriano is just absolutely rotten at this point in his career. I mean, Sari's in
Wow.
his surname. He's literally Sariano, for God's sake. And it's an apropos way to describe his performances. His stand-up is so predictable and so bland, just spamming overhead punches with zero technique and praying that he knocks the other guy out with it. He has power, but no execution to show it off. The talent just isn't there. I mean, getting finished by Dustin Stoltzfus, for fuck's sake. Beza, meanwhile, he has been on quite the slump as well, losing to Santiago Ponzinibbio and Andre Fialho in the first round, for God's sake. However, he's coming back to welterweight after a break, hopefully training to get better in the meantime, and he's pretty big for his division with a long reach as well. Soriano is going down to welterweight from an already low-talent middleweight division. And I feel like his power
Which we
and
talked about earlier.
I feel like his power and chin will fare even worse going down a weight class. So I actually see Beza's physical advantages making the difference. And if Beza can't be knocked out, I think he finds the chin of a washed Punahele and puts him away. Get off my screen, sorry ass Soriano.
Damn, Tank is coming for blood in this card.
Yeah.
So the
I think I've
new
been talking to
gloves.
JL too much. I've been talking to
So
JL too much.
So the new gloves don't sway your opinion on the knockout?
I'm putting some faith in these folks. Just a little
All
bit of
right.
faith. Plus, if we were tied, I'd have to beat you with finishes. So submissions and
Sure.
knockouts.
So Pudahele is a guy that I actually like. Miguel Baeza was a guy I actually liked coming up, and he's just had this terrible fucking streak as of late. But like you said, he's taken a long break, 2 years actually.
Yeah.
And he was like a pretty young prospect when he was coming up. And actually, I believe that when he got knocked out by Andre Fialho, like we actually still see it. We actually still thought he was like gonna be good, right? Like
Yeah. How
we're
wrong
like,
were
oh
we?
wow, Andre just knocked out Miguel Baez. This guy's the next thing at welterweight. So I do like your analysis of the fight. I still have faith in Punahele. I think that this fight is like, Miguel, has he always been at MMA Masters? That's what his gym is listed at. That's something
He's
I'd be
not a master.
curious.
No way.
All right. Well, so MMA Masters is where Colby Covington trains, where Themba Garimbo trains. In case you
That helps
didn't
my
know.
argument. That helps my argument.
Right. So that's why I'm saying I don't know how long he's been with this team. But one thing we do know about those guys is they got some good cardio and
True.
just mix it up. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So depending on how long that he's been at that camp, I could see this just kind of being a slobber knocker. Whoever gets it done right. I think that Puna is gonna win the first minute of the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just based on aggression and just coming forward.
Yeah.
But it's what happens in the second, third, and then like, do I see Miguel winning or do I see Puna winning a decision? In the second and third round, not really. I don't think his cardio is going to hold up well, but I do believe that he's a scrapper, man. And like I said, I do have some faith in him, but it's really just the size. We look here at 5'11" and 6'2". I feel like Puna still though is like the stockier guy. You know what I'm saying? Like the more built dude. So yeah, I think a size advantage. Me thinking, if it goes to decision, Miguel's gonna win 2 of the 3 rounds. Give me Miguel. Give me Miguel. And I think it's gonna be a slobber. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm just gonna
go with that
safe and
Idaho
go
decision. Got to go with the Statesman decision.
I mean, why is there a problem? Should I not do
that? No problem. It's just your trademark. We got to go with it.
100%. Yeah, man. I again, it's like just to be safe. Like I don't really know what's gonna happen, so I guess I got to go with decision. But the next fight is Julian Marquez, who once shot his shot to Miley Cyrus, got the shot and then totally fumbled the bag. I mean, we've all been there before. You know what I'm saying?
I've dated Miley Cyrus before.
Yeah, we've all been there before. Who hasn't? Versus a man named Zach Reese, who won his fight on the Contender Series via armbar 9 months ago, and then was on a sick. So he's actually on a pretty sick little finish streak until he runs into Cody Brundage of all people,
the prospect killer,
gets knocked out by Cody Brundage of all people. Julian Marquez, up and down guy, right, on a 2-fight losing streak, beating Coconut Bombs Mackie Patolo by submission, and Sam Alvey by submission is his last win. Gets knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez and knocked out by Marc-Andre Barrios. That's some good losses to have on your record, man. I'll tell you that much.
No, not at all.
The one thing you can guarantee though with Julian Marquez is it's gonna be a damn good fight, man. He always comes in for a scrap. So if he's like a get or get got kind of guy. So another tough one for me to pick. 34 versus 30 at middleweight. Oh my gosh, middleweight, dude. Fuck.
No. Triangle of hell.
Yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen here. I couldn't tell you, and actually that's reflected in the odds. It's near even, and Tapology it doesn't even know what to fucking do here either. So Oh man, I don't even really want to make a pick on this fight, but I have to. We pick every fight here at the Skate Tank MMA podcast. So
Yeah, unlike Fluke Displazy.
I'll just go with Marquez, knockout, submission, pick your choice. We'll go round 3, the Idaho way.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute. What about my pick? All right, here we go. I got Reese by a round 1 submission. There was something in the water in Austin, Texas, when Zach Reese got slam KO'd by Cody Brundage.
That was an amazing card.
Absolutely. And Isha shit all over it in his predictions video before it started and was like, dude, RIZIN's going to be so much better than UFC Fight Night Austin. Oh, man, I want to watch OKTAGON and not UFC Fight Night Austin. And I think it was at that point that Isha Helwani was born. And I started using that nickname for him. And now it's a labor of love.
That's actually really mean. No, Isha Helwani, I think he's a little better than.
He's a little better. He actually 10-7s Ariel Helwani, so that's why he's the superior Helwani. But there's a lot of similarities, visually and in terms of ideas. There was there was something in the water. He got slam KO'd by Cody Brundage. Slam KOs on that card. Coincidence?
That was amazing.
I think not. Reese is a victim of circumstance. A victim in general as well, but a victim of circumstance nonetheless. He had that armbar latched onto Cody Brundage. Let's be real. And if he was
that's right. That's how he got slammed
against the cage. He isn't getting KO'd with that submission locked in. If he were in any other position, Brundage got a lucky break, and I believe that Reese is still uber talented when it comes to a submission and pressuring game on the ground and on the feet. Julian Marquez has fun slobber knocker fights. Literally, I had the exact same term for his fights, slobber knocker. So great minds.
Yeah, go in your notes. You go over a lot of. You just say exactly the same thing I just said. So
we share the same brain cell. But he often comes out the other end a loser by brutal finish. Julian Marquez. And RoboCop whooped his ass. And I'm betting his technique's so sloppy at this point that he'll get easily taken down by Reese's PCs and worked on the ground as well. We won't have to worry about Reese's gas tank or him going all 3 rounds because he won't. He'll hold Marquez down and tap him out with a slick-looking submission like all his last opponents before Brundage. I favor Zachary's pizza, and I think he's going to make Marquez bleed to the point Julian looks like an orange Julius and slurp him right up.
What about the new gloves?
I don't think it's going to matter because the submission guy is going to get.
Okay.
Yeah, so the new gloves won't have anything to do with it.
They got more leverage than new gloves do.
But Zach Reese is going to, set it up and just drive his right hand forward and literally like cave his face in, and he still won't knock him down. So,
holding you to that. Our next fight, Bruno Ferreira versus Dustin Stoltzfus. So, I made my pick while Hank was going on his rant in his notes. I think this is a pretty easy fight to pick. I don't know. I don't really have much analysis for you on this one. Just a Brazilian KO machine type of dude. We were all shocked when he knocked out Gregory Rodriguez in the first round. He gets knocked out by Nursultan. Then he knocks out Phil Haas. So, either Bruno's going to knock this guy out or he's going to gas out, and Dustin's going to get the submission, right? I don't really see it any other way. Give me Bruno Ferreira in round 1 knockout. I think that's the best method of victory for him. If not, Dustin probably gets the decision win or submission win. But, these are middleweights, I believe. Yeah, these are middleweights. Middleweight sucks. We got a middleweight main event, unfortunately. So,
Ching. Well, what do you know, Gene? I got the exact same pick that you do. Ferreira's just a monster, man. The Hulk is the perfect nickname for him. He hulks up. What you gonna do, brother? Drop the leg. But he's
not racist though.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, that's a plus for him. He'll beat your ass no matter what skin color you are. He shows unbelievable power against guys who should be going back and forth with him more. He knocks out Robobama, Gregory Rodriguez in the first round, which is aged very, very well. I'm honestly surprised they're putting him against sort of a can in Dustin Stoltzfus. Again, crazy timing synchronicity with former opponents. Here we go again.
It's not crazy, man. They're on the same schedule.
Makes sense. Yes, that's true. It's systematic. Instead of getting an opponent in the top 15 or just below it. He honestly deserves it at this point with his level of skill and knockout power at such a young age. Now, I might be undermining Stoltzfus just a little. He's a solid fighter against the right low level of opponent, like human trash can Sariano. But against somebody with his level, I have my nicknames for people. Little Marco, Idaho Skatesman, what a guy. But against somebody with this level of aura and KO power like Ferreira, I think that Stoltzfus will have a rough time putting up a fight against him. Bruno can stuff his takedowns. He has solid footwork and technique. And once his fight goes long enough into the first round, I think that Dustin's going to make a silly mistake. And Bruno, being silly and jumping the gilly. And Bruno's going to send him to the shadow realm. The Brazilian roid freak's getting this one done, unless the new gloves somehow prevent him from getting a KO.
Oh my gosh.
Whether or not he gets a finish in this fight will prove once and for all whether these new gloves completely stunt knockout ability or not. Dustin in an ideal world's getting dusted.
Okay. Like, explain to me how scientifically these gloves would stop knockouts. That's what I'm curious of.
Well, you see, I saw the designers of the glove go to a pillow fight MMA show, and I saw one of them sneak in and grab a pillow. It's like, yes, I finally got it. And then he picked it apart and he used the fluff and he put it inside the gloves. So that's right. The gloves are now pillow fight MMA. They took it from the other sport and branded it on their own.
So you're claiming that the material inside of the gloves is actually softer?
Yes.
Now, wouldn't that make the knuckle more like pronounced, and like less padding would mean more knockouts?
I don't know, man. It's gonna. I heard it from Nico Price. It's like, a sheepskin going against your face. It was actually comfortable. It was like a cushion. It was like a cushion.
Now, Isha's bringing up something interesting here. He says, "Can we get a fine for the word aura, like based skate? I feel like that is new and being overused in the community." Or gloves, glove. I don't know if we can do gloves, but I mean, wait. So, have you been saying aura a lot, Hank?
I know that Bedtime MMA has been calling a lot of people.
I don't know who the fuck Bedtime MMA is. All right. I don't know.
I've mentioned him like 3 or 4 times.
Brother? Yeah, but I don't know who the fuck he is. But
well, Bilal
grandfather.
You should know.
Sure, Isha. We can implement a fine. What do you suggest it be? Because I don't know if like $10. That seems like a lot.
100
gloves and aura. Nah, I mean maybe you gotta like wear one of the Khabib hats or something like that. I don't know.
Sounds good to me. Or I'll wear one of my dad's clothes.
Our next fight is Raul Rosas versus Ricky Tercios. When this fight was first announced, before Raul Rosas' parents made him clean his room, I was pretty much just convinced that, based on what I saw from Ricky Tercios, that Raul Rosas would just like out-grapple him the entire fight. As far as getting a finish, I don't know, but man, it's so hard to pick a 19-year-old Raul Rosas to win any fight, if you ask me. I don't think that, like, I haven't really seen anything like that tells me that this guy is like UFC material. Not to say that like Ricky Tercios is either, right? Because Ricky Tercios is best known for beating up the air and just,
that air felt it.
Yeah, if Casper the Ghost was in the UFC, I mean, Ricky Tercios he would probably have the knockout of the year over him, right?
Max Holloway on Justin Gaethje.
Right. So I don't know. This is a weird fight. The one thing that I will say though is I love Ricky Tercios' energy, right? Like,
I wish he was a better fighter.
Right, because he talks the talk. I love his promos. I mean, this guy just like he seems like he's gonna just have the whole package, and then he actually goes and fights, and you're like, what am I watching? So yeah. I'm gonna pick Raul by decision, but again, Like I don't think that a overly aggressive 19-year-old is the kind of prospect that you want to see. We didn't get to talk about it, but it's like I like a guy like Lerone Murphy who takes his time and he's patient,
Oh boy,
like
yeah, right.
over like a reckless prospect. So obviously completely different fighters in the same weight class, but I think that taking your time and patience is more of a better quality in a fighter than just absolute recklessness.
I got the same opinion as you regarding how this fight's going to go, except I've got a little more faith in Rosas Jr.
Big gloves.
Ricky, where are you, past Ricky? You've got to do what you want with your life. Quote from God up above, man. Ricky's just lost all of his aggression and grit as a fighter, deliberately trying to get split decisions against complete cans by doing absolutely nothing on offense and praying that the judges like his pitter-patter BS. This is not the Ricky Tercios I know anymore, and it's not a Ricky Tercios I'm rooting for anymore either. His stand-up is sloppy, and his takedown defense is suspect at this rate. I think the young Rosas Jr. is still good enough on the feet and the ground to take down a do-nothing like Ricky, who tries to scramble and lock up submissions often to no avail. I think eventually Ricky's will miscue a submission attempt, and Rosas is going to sub him instead. Around the second round, Rosas has too much potential and talent shown not to be able to take Ricky down or tag him with something at this point. I have too much faith in him to give up. He lost to Christian Rodriguez, but C-Rod is the prospect killer, so it's only natural that he gets punished for doing nothing by a flabby-ass weight cheat. Fuck C-Rod. I hope he has a heart attack from having too big a BMI. Or
Jeez.
gets his apartment robbed and fully cleaned out, taking bread off of Isaac Dolgarian's table.
What the
Rotten
fuck?
fucking wake bully. Anyway, he got beat by someone
Okay,
who's
MMA guru.
well since he beat Ricky. So not a bad loss to have. Dude, I hate C-Rod more than Guru hates C-Rod. I was the first C-Rod hater, okay? So I'm old as the dinosaurs at this point. He still has a lot of talent to show, and I think he will, through dominating the tough winner Ricky Tercios on the ground and subbing him around too. At the end of the day, Ariel, I'm going to make Ricky Tercios' face look just like mine, S.A. For me, familia. And then I'm coming for that belt, you know. And at the end of the day, all I can do is take people down and wear my sombrero.
Is
And
that Marlon Brando?
it's Marlon Brando if he was playing Ricky Raul Rosas Jr.
Okay.
He's a good method actor, man. He's good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I
You're,
thought I was expecting a pretty Ricky pun.
you're just a grocery store boy. Sorry.
No, you're good.
He was good.
I was just expecting a pretty Ricky pun.
Oh yeah. Ricky!
Our next fight, Mr. Dominic Reyes, coming back after getting slept, and slept again. After arguably, in the eyes of pretty much everybody, I mean, except for John Jones and probably John Jones's many string of boyfriends. Also, there is a big contingency of John Jones like defenders, truthers out there that just will never have a bad thing to say about the guy. But yeah, brutally KO'd by Jan Blachowicz, brutally KO'd by Yuri Prohaska, and brutally KO'd. It says power jab by Ryan Spann. He is a plus 185 underdog. Versus Dustin Jacoby, who a man who not a lot of people know this, but has a win in kickboxing, MMA, and boxing, all in the same night.
Nice.
How does that happen? I can tell you how, but yeah, really interesting. I actually really like Dustin Jacoby. I feel like a
Me too.
lot of people are haters of the guy. He's been up and down in the UFC. Lost to Khalil Roundtree and Osmat Mirzakhanov, who is a fucking beast. Beating Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Nchukwu, and I don't know, whatever the fuck, Kennedy, and losing to Alonzo Menafield. So for me, it's so hard for me to actually pick Dustin or Dominic Reyes with confidence. The only thing I will say is I think that there is it's a good matchup for him though to come back to. both tall guys, both tall like kickboxing heavy game guys. But when you think about it, Dominic Reyes' last knockout was against fucking Chris Weidman, coming up
Ugh,
from middleweight to light heavyweight.
it's
So do I
horrible.
see like Dominic Reyes knocking out Dustin? No, I don't. And this is largely going to be a kickboxing contest. So I got to go with Dustin Jacoby winning 2 rounds, at least.
Yeah.
If not all three. But again, Dominic Reyes could be coming back. Again, this is not like a huge knockout threat. I think a sneaky pick would be actually to pick Jacoby to get a knockout, because he actually his last wins were by knockout, and he's actually been pretty active too. But I'm gonna pick Dustin Jacoby to go to get the decision win. But yeah, what say you?
My
As you
advice.
type this response to Isha, you can literally just say your response to him.
I know, but I work so much with my fingers. It's just innate instinct. All right, I'm keeping things light, keeping things fresh in the chat. Okay. My advice for Rays is just retire. Please retire, or just go to Karate Combat and make some money there. Speaking of fighters who look nothing like they did before, I'm Dominic Reyes, except he's not Dominic Reyes anymore. Just a horse with a broken leg.
The ghost,
the
empty husk of Dominic Reyes.
Exactly. Very, very empty. Like literally, like I think like 80% of his facial structure is gone. But it's horrible what Dana does to these once great fighters who have completely lost themselves, making them ruin their bodies and minds for money against a guy way better than them until they finish their careers with crippling CTE. That's what's happening to Reyes here. I think even pitter-patter puncher Dustin Jacoby, by the way, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many peppers did Peter Piper pick? He's going to put Reyes away by the fight's end. He's actually has a technique currently and knows how to dominate fighters who are less skilled than himself, especially if they have no power like Dominic Reyes. It's over, man. He's gone. This is the worst part of doing my job, announcing the funerals of washed fighters beforehand. Speaking of which, I can't wait for UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov. Diaz and Tony are going to crush it. Watch.
Oh, dude, don't even.
No.
No.
Only a few months away. Hooray. Anyway, round 3 TKO for Reyes. I said my piece. Now let's move on. I'm looking so forward to that. I couldn't be more excited since UFC 291. What a great show.
Our next fight, Jared Cannonier versus Nasruddin Imavov. Cannonier is in a really strange position here, having fought most of the top 5, looking pretty good against them too. Having his very strange title fight with Izzy, and just, I mean, if he gets a win here, he probably should get the next title shot, but he won't, right? And same with Nasruddin. Like, I would say if he gets a win here, he's up next too. Not up next, but like 1 or 2 fights away from a title. The only thing that makes me not want to pick Jared Cannonier is that he's 40. I think that he has more cardio to go into the 4th and 5th round. But I don't know, man, because Nasruddin, like, he looks like the next guy, and then he loses to Sean Strickland via decision, which apparently is Hank's favorite fighter. And then he gets this weird accidental clash of heads against
again. He's tied for first place with 20 people.
And then winning a majority decision against Roman Dolidze is another weird win. So his momentum's been slowed. Do I think that Nasruddin gets a knockout win over Cannonier or a submission? I don't think that Cannonier is the kind of guy that a lot of people are able to finish, as we saw with Izzy. Being very safe. And it's hard to not pick Jared. It's just the age for me, man. It's just the age, 40. Even though it is middleweight, I gotta pick Nasruddin to get it done here via decision.
Good one. Hold on, I'm typing, brother. Hold on, I'm typing. Brother.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, here we go. I got Cannonier by decision. Imavov can't get a finish to save his life, and Cannonier has dominated guys at about the same skill level that Imavov is at. Imavov looked atrocious against Elidze, even though he won.
Yeah, it was a terrible fight.
Yeah, rotten. Had every opportunity to finish Elidze and somehow couldn't find a way to do it. Almost got subbed and DQ'd at several points in the fight, and beating that living husk Kroshniver in Roman Dolidze by majority decision. Are you serious? So yeah,
I actually like Roman Dolidze.
I JL too. So you guys have that in common. I think Imavov has been exposed in his last 4 fights, and he's not having his coming out party as an amateur against a guy who beat a former middleweight champion in Sean Strickland. Kill a gorilla, as on the spectrum as he is, with that stupid gorilla hoodie, will piece up Imavov over 5 rounds and make him look like a rookie, which he clearly still is. Majority decision for Cannonier, and no finish Imavov can F off to Aries or PFL Europe.
Like I said, it would be so weird if Cannonier won, right? Because what do you do with him? Who do you match him up against? Which we'll talk about at the end of the on Sunday as we recap this crazy weekend, which I thought it would take a lot longer to preview. Actually,
I think we're getting better at this.
Maybe so.
Or worse.
It takes a lot of work and a lot of things, happen behind the scenes, to make this shit happen for you guys. So, again, we give you like 4 hours a week, damn near, of content. We got other shit. We got debates. We got, things happening over here. So check us out. Like, subscribe. I think that's it for me. I mean, do you have anything else you want to say? Anything else in the notes?
I'm just gonna be on pretty much MMA drugs for the next 3 days. So I'm praying that I get any work done this weekend, but seems like a pretty monumental task. I will push through though. I will persevere, even if it kills me, because I did too many locks and picks not to watch the shows. So I'm gonna stick to that principle and pretend like it's work.
What about you, Isha? I mean, what's the fight you're looking forward to the most on this weekend? And I guess I'll ask you too. I mean, what's the number one fight that you're looking forward to the most?
I'm actually looking forward to Horiguchi versus Pettis. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, especially in that environment. Ruckus crowd, great ring, and 2 fantastic talents. Someone with the entertaining on the card, for sure.
I think I'm weirdly looking forward to the Dominic Reyes.
You sick
fight the most. It just kind of intrigues me, and I really do. I'm a fan of Jacoby, even though I know he's not like the most exciting guy or whatever. Wish there was some boxing though, because I'm getting into more boxing than anything. And then I think Taiwan Chai versus Joe Natawat's gonna be probably my fight of the weekend to really watch.
Also, this is a suggestion to Isha. Watch my Twitter clip that I sent on the general of the Iglesias knockout in the top ranking boxing event. It's going to be the best finish that you see this entire weekend. I guarantee it.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me before we started the show. He's got Horiguchi, Pettis, Spike versus Kim and RIZIN. Yeah, and I'll be there watching that with you if Jay doesn't do it, my friend Isha. But yeah, I just think that Pettis versus Horiguchi is going to be boring.
Probably.
I think Tawanchai and Joe Natawat was such a great fight last time that I cannot wait to see the rematch, even though it's kind of a weird booking. But yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing Raul Rosas versus Ricky Tercios. I like both guys, so want to see what happens.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it for us, man. I don't got anything else to say. So with that, man, enjoy the fights and remember, MMA is supposed to be fun.
You have escaped the war zone for now.